The military draft, are you for or against it? I researched both sides. I was against the draft at first. However, after studying for my speech, I changed sides. My reasons for why I changed my mind were more than one. I thought, why do I think it's not right? Look at my friends and family that are in the military. Look at the families with soldiers at war right now. How do they feel knowing that their children or loved ones are at war? And if it was really needed, why wouldn't we want to go fight for our country? People would be more apt to share their opinions. Less people wouldn't care about what was going on at war. The unity would possibly grow. If America didn't agree with the government, the government would have to find a new solution, or they should. All in all, if it was truly needed, I would support it being I would support the draft because it's our responsibility as Americans to do so. My reasons for the draft were these right here. George Washington made the case for a mandatory service. He said it must be laid down as a primary position and the basis of our democratic system, that every citizen who enjoys the protection of a free government, they owe not only a proportion of his property, but even his personal service to the defense of it. This led the U.S. to adopt mandatory military service for white males in the 1700s. The modern equivalent, voiced by Representative Rangel, he was a Democrat from New York, stated, "I truly believe that those who make the decision and those who support the U.S. going to war would feel more readily the pain involved, the sacrifice involved, if they thought that the fighting source would include their own. And those who historically have avoided this responsibility should be involved. Those who love this country have an obligation to defend it. Whether you are poor or rich should not matter. If a time was to come that there were more soldiers needed than what were supplied, we would have to go. If they did reinstate it, it would be our responsibility as Americans to take part. Look at what our country has given us. Do we want to stay free? Will we be able to look at ourselves if our country suffers because there is no draft? If the time came for one, more Americans would need to be involved. If the majority did not agree, the government would have to look for different solutions. A military draft might awaken our country because it would affect everyone. As Americans, we're too easily distracted. Here's a quote from a Globe columnist. It says, "Reinstate the military draft and see how quickly the United States ends war in Iraq. Imagine if our sons and daughters were at risk for a deployment to the desert. Imagine if all our children faced the Al-Qaeda-style butchery that took the lives of 2 American soldiers. If we feared our children were next up to be gutted like fish, we might be less likely to shake our heads at crazy anti-war activists. If turning 18 meant your kids' boots hitting the ground, a resolution to pull troops out of Iraq by a certain date would grab more than 6 votes in the U.S. Senate." On Larry King one night, he interviewed relatives of the Houston soldier whose body was dumped by insurgents after they tortured and killed him. During commercial breaks, CNN ceaselessly promoted Anderson Cooper's upcoming interview with actress Angelina Jolie. They said, "Stay with us. Don't worry, be happy. Don't dwell on the gruesome. The insane is soon to follow." The country is so easily diverted. People are angrier at illegal immigrants than they really should enrage in them. Involvement in war that we cannot end or win, depending on whose version you really look at, should be more important. my reasons against the draft. The main reason that people have against the draft is moral. People believe they should not have to fight if they don't want to. Yet, the military helps keep them where they're at today. They claim the draft violates the principle of individual liberty. People claim that conscription is slavery. They are forced to kill or be killed, punish or be punished. It destroys their freedom, they claim. People think it would weaken the military because there would be a divide between those that want to fight and those that are conscripted. They say that there would be no free society left when they are forced to defend it. You shouldn't want to be forced. You shouldn't have to be forced to defend it. You should want to defend it. All in all, this is what I have for the draft. Now you ask yourself, are you for or against the draft? And if you answer no, why? Because you're from America, just like I'm from America. And if I'm willing to fight, you should too. Selfishness is something that's taken over our country. Think about all those boys that have come, men and women that have come back, and that are having to go back again because of the people, because not many people are wanting to go. Are you going to be a leader or a follower? Draft or no draft? Your decision.